On today's show, the Clippers showed some fight in the first 2.5 quarters, but the inevitable occurred in OKC as they dropped another one. What felt so obvious, or what made the game feel so obvious that there was no way the Clippers could win? Going to be talking about that and more on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA, been a Clipper fan for 21 years, been covering the team on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper for 6 and 4 right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. And now the #1 sports podcast network. In this episode, I want to be talking about the game we had against OKC on Thursday night, why it felt so inevitable, the good things that we saw in the first 2.25 quarters, and the big picture overall after this game. Now, of course, the LA Clippers have won 3 out of their last 21 games going into this one, and we're playing against the team that has only lost 2 games all season and have the roster that they have in large thanks due to the trade that we made for Paul George. So every single time we play them, it just feels like a dagger that is just piercing further and further into our hearts as Clipper fans. And, we had a really good first half that I'll talk about more later, but this OKC team, they do, and we didn't have James Harden in this game if I hadn't mentioned it. Bogey started in his place, but they just have this intense ball pressure with all the guards that they have. Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace, and SGA, and they all buy into not just what Coach Dagnall's selling, but they buy into playing hard defensively every single night. And granted, there is a whole thing about that more contact is allowed for them, but that's because they get physical. They initiate the contact, so that becomes regular for referees. And without James Harden, you knew it was just a matter of time before, especially with the shots that we were making. We weren't making a ton of easy shots. It was a lot of Kawhi mid-ranges, Zoo post-ups, Chris Dunn and John Collins, were hitting. John Collins hit a 3 early. Chris Dunn hit a couple of 3s. You just knew that stuff kind of wasn't sustainable, especially when you know that OKC is just like, you got to really beat them for 4 quarters because they have a championship formula, and it feels very 2016 Warriors like in this way. The first year that they kind of made the playoffs was 2024, and they lost in the second round. So they actually won a first-round series, and they hadn't played a first-round series since since the bubble, 2020. The Warriors won a first-round series when they went to the playoffs first. The only difference was they had 2014 in between their title, where they lost to your very own LA Clippers. I was at every single home game of that series. Classic. But they came back the next year and won the title after only having second-round experience, just like the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then to follow that year up, the Golden State Warriors won 73 games and were like an unstoppable juggernaut in the regular season. And it feels that way with the Thunder going 25-2 after this win. So my point being, this is definitely not the game, Clippers without James Harden, to be like all doom and gloom. Of course, if you want to be doom and gloom about the state of the Clippers and the season that we're having, by all means, you have every right to be that way or feel that way. But this game, losing 101 to 122, and we're only down 70-75 midway through the third quarter, but you just knew that it wasn't sustainable, that we weren't going to be able to create good shots throughout the game, and eventually the turnovers would start rolling in, and we had a season-high 29 turnovers in this game, and they had 38 points off of them. So there's absolutely no way you're going to win like that. The Thunder only turned the ball over 9 times, and it is what it is. They're the champs for a reason, and we got to, we made our bed. Now we got to lay in it, unfortunately. It's just a very uncomfortable bed to lay in. Kawhi Leonard had 3 turnovers. John Collins had 2 turnovers. Zoo had 2 turnovers. Bogey had 2 turnovers, and Chris Dunn had a whopping season-high 6 turnovers. More ball handling duties without James Harden, more turnovers. Nico had a turnover. Brook Lopez checked into the game and played 15 minutes and had a turnover. And they weren't regular rotation minutes. He finally came in like the late third quarter panic mode. Kobe Sanders had 6 turnovers. Jordan Miller had 4 turnovers. It was pretty brutal because we shot 49% from the field. We did not actually shoot poorly from the field. And at one point of the first half, we were literally scorching hot. We out-rebounded the Thunder 49-38 too in the game. But it's the turnovers. It's the turnovers at the end of the day. So, I mean, what can I say individually? John Collins definitely can't dribble around good NBA defenders. He loses the ball constantly. His handle is not good enough for that. He would have to post them up, not face up against them, against good NBA defenders. Kawhi Leonard's passing, I mean, it's decent. You know, it's decent for a star. He had some passes that I wouldn't say are routine, but they have a little bit of a high degree of difficulty, and they just were not accurate. One pass that I think it was to Zoo on the roll, he just completely overthrew him, and it was way too much, had too much mustard on it as well. Then there was another just like jump pass that was just floated too soft. So, you know, I think Kawhi was okay. I also did not like the threes that he was taking. They were not wide open. They were kind of semi-contested, which he can make, but I just don't think that those are necessarily good threes even for him. But maybe the mindset was you're gonna like a semi-contested three for Kawhi Leonard against OKC. We got to take that because it's going to be hard enough to get good shots off anyway. So maybe that was the approach. But he was 0 for 5 from downtown in the game. And we only shot 10 for 32 from 3, so that's 31%. They shot 36%, 13 for 36. And they shot 48% from the field, so 1% worse than us. They also shot less free throws by 6. But my biggest takeaway there is, again, besides obviously the turnovers are the reason we lost and just being talent deficient to a team like this, again, 31% from 3. Like, we just cannot sustain a good shooting game from 3 consistently in any sort of fashion, and it really hurts us. It really hurts us. So, I mean, this isn't the game where you have to have some grand takeaways. But here's the thing about the kids turning it over. Like 10 turnovers in between Kobe Sanders and Jordan Miller. You know, they may not be NBA players. They may not have NBA careers. But I don't think this is the way we're going to find out. I think being able to make mistakes, and it doesn't feel like it, in my opinion. Like people could argue that they're getting allowed to make mistakes right now. We're losing. This is their development. I don't think so, because there's a mindset aspect to it too. There's a level of they're here to support us, still try to make the plan, still try to get back in the mix, which of course they would be trying to do if they were rebuilding, but they would have so much more room for error and more room to grow, room to close some games, to start some games, to kind of, the game plan is now built around them as opposed to Kawhi and a little bit of Zoo. So, and because, it's James Harden's team, largely his offense when he plays. I just think we're going to only find out how good these guys truly are if they have the keys to the car, and that car is definitely not going to run super well because those guys are not. I mean, if you have a team, I don't know. I don't even know what to hypothesize in terms of what a team would look like with those guys having such bigger roles. It would not necessarily be a good team, but I just don't think this is the role for them that they're going to be able to really develop in the way that would either show us that they're NBA players or not. I don't think in this role they'd all look like, maybe Kobe Sanders looks like an NBA player, Jordan Miller sometimes, but I just don't think being on this win now team is it for them. I think there's too much room for error for them, and when they play, it's like every loss feels big right now for us because we still have expectations to make it. We still have James Harden and Kawhi on our roster. So it's a 2-timeline thing, and these guys aren't good enough role players that can just slot in and make a difference on championship level teams right away like a Christian Brown, unfortunately. But we're talking about Jordan Miller and Kobe Sanders, who are second-round picks. We'd be happy if they could just have NBA careers. But I want to find out. But anyway, the Clippers lose 101 to 122. It was a turnover fest. But coming up, let's talk about what went well in the first half and some positives to take from the game. I got to tell you a little something about DoorDash. The season's heating up, and DoorDash has a way to keep fans in their bag the whole way through. Whether you're watching the highlights, the tunnel fits, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes the entire season more fun because every player has their bag. With DoorDash, fans have one too. DoorDash keeps your snacks stocked, your gear fresh, and your watch party vibes absolutely on point. There are nights when your team stresses you out. Let DoorDash become your post-game therapy. And honestly, this might be one of those nights. I can't even lie. I might have to order DoorDash after this is over. From tip-off to overtime, stay in your bag and order on DoorDash. Get snacks, drinks, gear, whatever gets you through the season, delivered right to your door. DoorDash, in your bag all season long. I got to tell you a little something about Rocket Money. Ever feel like your money just disappears each month? It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances. Because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you so you can save more and stress less. Seeing all your spending on one dashboard makes it easier to understand where your money's going because it's very easy to lose track of what you're spending, where you're spending it. Take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/locked on. All right. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Clippers with no interruptions, members only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month and 50 or $5 a month or $50 a year. And to sign up and go check out more and sign up for the Everydayer Club, head on over to lockedonclippers.supercast.com. All right. So let's talk about some of the good things we saw in this game from your LA Clippers. We had Bogey guarding Case and Wallace, Zubac against Chet, Chris Dunn on SGA, John Collins on Lou Dort, and Kawhi Leonard on Jalen Williams to begin the game. On their side, they had SGA on Chris Dunn, Lou Dort on Kawhi, Chet on Zoo, Case and Wallace on Bogey, and J-Dub on John Collins. One thing I found interesting that was actually working well to start the game was that we were switching 1 through 5. We were allowing Bogey to guard Chet, and we even had Zoo guard Shea a couple times. But Shea only went at him like once, and Zoo contested a layup well at the rim. And that's one thing I'll say. I think Zubac's rim protection in that first half, and really in this game, was pretty good. He was actually deterring shots, looking more like the Ivica Zubac that we've become accustomed to seeing, the good one. So that was a positive sign. And Chet, I will say, though, Chet was cooking in the beginning of the game, and he had a really solid game, finishing with 22 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal on 8 for 13 shooting and 3 for 5 from downtown. But he had about, I want to say, 8 points right away in the first couple minutes of the game. As far as the defensive strategy for the Thunder, they were hedging on the ball screens with Chet on Kawhi to take away that pull-up jump shot because I think they were just very comfortable with us giving it to Zoo and then forcing Zoo to kick it out to a shooter because guys like Chris Dunn and John Collins, Chris Dunn is shooting 36% from the three, but he's still a guy you want to let shoot. And then John Collins is shooting 28% from 3. So he's absolutely a guy you want to let shoot right now. So we actually began up 10-2. John Collins and Bogey hit threes, and OKC called a timeout early on in the game. And then Caruso came in and started guarding Zoo, and we did a good job of actually feeding Zoo. Went on a 12-0 run. Kawhi had a couple of buckets, had a nice dunk driving through the middle of the lane. Zoo was being aggressive. John Collins was being aggressive around the rim, and we were up 26-15. That would be our largest lead of the game, of course. And you knew, even when it was happening, that wasn't going to last at all. And yeah, it didn't. Immediately the Thunder called a timeout, and then even though Lou Dort was missing open threes, Off the timeout, we immediately allowed a bucket, turned it over twice, and then SGA started imposing his will and either scoring or just drawing several bodies to him and finding shooters for threes. But we still led, and we had some John Collins at the 5 minutes in this game. We still led 33-27 after one. And I was thinking, there's just no way we can sustain this. And in the second quarter, we got outscored 37-22. Kawhi had some bad passes. OKC went on a 9-0 run to make it 45-41. Chet was hitting shots. Kawhi was missing all his contested threes that I was talking about earlier. And we started cooling down from three. And then SGA just started being SGA, unguardable in every sense. And yes, it absolutely makes me want to cry whenever I see him cook us. So we were down 64-55 at the half, which again, you're down 9 at OKC. They have Jalen Williams. You're missing James Harden. All things considered, and of course, Derrick Jones Jr., all things considered, they're missing Isaiah Hartenstein, by the way. But all things considered, we are playing pretty well. Like, we're in the game. We're making competitive. Like, you can't say you're not proud of the squad that's playing on that given night. We were actually down 70-75 at one point, as I mentioned earlier, but then we couldn't score and turn it over, and the rest is history. As far as some performances to pick out, I think, Kawhi Leonard was efficient again. 22 points on 9 for 17 shooting, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. So 22, 8, and 6 to go along with a steal. But he did turn the ball over 3 times. And I didn't like his shot selection from 3. So for me, it was a mediocre Kawhi game. Of course, Kawhi is, the only source of offense that we truly have outside of a little bit of Zoo. But in terms of like shot creation. But, he had to be better if we're going to beat OKC. It is what it is. Ivica Zubac. He had a double-double, 11 points, 11 boards, 3 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 turnovers, and played the same amount of minutes as Kawhi with 32. There were some good flashes from Zoo. I think there were some good flashes from Zoo. I just think that he still needs to do a better job of being strong with the ball. John Collins, if there's one big positive to take, it's that offensively he was aggressive and I don't know if he scored 20 points yet as a Clipper. Let me check that. He had 20 points on 7 for 13 shooting to go along with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and shot 7 for 13 from the field, but still could not shoot well from 3. 1 for 4 from 3. And it's his second 20-point game of the season because he had 21 points against the Dallas Mavericks in that game that I attended. That was the last game I attended because I didn't go to the Memphis game, but I will be there against the Lakers. So yeah, his second 20-point game of the season. So that is a positive to take. And I think a lot of it comes from him scoring on the interior, taking advantage of smaller guys. I think when he does a lot of face-up, like ball handling, his handle's not very tight. He gets stripped a lot. All 5 of our starters were in double figures, so that was good to see. Chris Dunn continues to shoot very well. You can't really blame him for getting cooked by SGA. SGA had 32 points, but that's like on average for him. 32 points in 29 minutes on 13 for 24 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3, 4 for 6 from the foul line, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and a turnover. Second best player in the world, if not the best. I mean, it's sad. I know we drafted him. Let's not talk about it. It makes me sad. Chris Dunn, though, 14 points, 5 for 8 shooting, 3 for 6 from downtown, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, and of course the 6 turnovers. So you can't turn the ball over 6 times, Chris. But the positive, he's shooting well from 3, and we need all the 3-point shooting we can get right now. Speaking of 3-point shooting, Bogey, 14 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers on 6 for 12 shooting and 2 for 6 from 3. Did not shoot a free throw. Here's what I'll say about Bogey. I think he definitely gives us a better chance of winning games. He can handle the ball. He can knock down shots. He consistently gets double-figure scoring. He can kind of create his own shot. We need him. I think his absence really has hurt our season more than even I have mentioned on this show enough. But the bench, and we played Nico in this game. We played Jordan Miller in this game. We played Kobe Sanders in this game. It was really an 8-man rotation. Kobe Brown didn't really play. He played 3 minutes of garbage time. Brook Lopez came in as like a last resort, late third quarter, and looked like a slow snail. Between Kobe Sanders, Jordan Miller, and Nico Batum, we scored 14 points. AJ Mitchell had 16 by himself. Isaiah Joe had 14 by himself. Our bench is just not good enough right now. It's just not good enough right now. It's that simple. But coming up, I'm going to be talking about the big picture yet again. What does this loss do for the team? I got to tell you a little something about gusto. Let's be real. No one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where gusto comes in, to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/lockedonnba and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/lockedonnba. One more time, that's gusto.com/lockedonnba. All right. Okay. Sorry, I needed a glass of water for that one. Let's just make it stop. Let's make it stop. Can there be a change? This third quarter stuff is consistent. We got outscored 39-28 in the third quarter. Nico Batum came back in this game. He had 6 points on 2 for 5 shooting, and you guessed it, all of them were threes. You'll take that, though. He's shooting 40% from 3. We'll take that. 2 rebounds, had a nice block, had 2 steals. Nico is who he is at this point. He's an older luxury piece that is a good defender for us, but he's slower and older, and he's not really going to, shoot a lot of shots in the paint. It's going to be a lot of threes. He should be like a 9th man or 8th man. Jordan Miller, 3 points on 1 for 5 shooting, 0 for 2 from downtown, 1 for 2 from the foul line, had 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, and a block. And Kobe Sanders played 30 minutes and had 5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. 2 for 5 shooting, 1 for 3 from deep, but 6 turnovers. So, I don't know. We're 6-21 now. We are 14th in the West, half a game above the 15th-seeded Pelicans, tied with the 13th seed Sacramento Kings. We are 5 games back of the Blazers for the 10th seed. Is it over? No. Our chances of making the play-ins are still, I'm not going to say high, but we still have a chance. There's a lot of season left. James Harden will be back very soon. It's nothing serious, according to Ty. Derrick Jones Jr. should be back pretty soon. But I don't know. Who am I kidding? We're bad. We need to change things, whether it's the coach going out the door or we need to just make some trades, get rid of some of these guys. Are we going to help Kawhi and Harden again? Or are we going to get rid of Kawhi and Harden and Zoo? Something has to change. We can't just keep going and losing every game. I think we saw some good signs in Minnesota and in Houston, but here's the thing. Immediately after, we came back home and Ty Lue changed the rotation and was playing lineups with Kobe Brown at the 5. So what's going on? And then Kawhi and James Harden just aren't getting any younger. The younger players are being held back, in my opinion, with this. I just don't know where to go from here. We were given an easier start to the season, schedule-wise, by the league, and we squandered it. And we showed our colors the first game. We showed our true colors and foreshadowing of what the season was to come, or the season to come, in that first game. With no intensity against the team that we were projected to be much better than in the Utah Jazz. We were coming out, turning the ball over like there was no tomorrow. And here we are, I'm talking right now on December 18th. And for you listening, it's going to be the 19th. And here I am talking about we can't take care of the ball. We had 29 turnovers in Oklahoma City tonight. We showed it in the first game. That's all I have to say is that we showed it in the first game. And please make it stop because Clipper fans deserve better. I don't know one Clipper fan right now that's begging us to keep this thing together. Even the ones that were anti-blow it up. There's just some that are saying we can't blow it up. We can't. This is it. They're just accepting the defeat. But I truly believe that even if we're a worse team, if we're seeing young players develop and something that's maybe a little different, something needs to change. This is done. It's finished. It's finito. And it's really, really hard to watch. It's really, really hard to watch. It's unfathomable how badly this season has gone. And just with every loss, obviously I didn't expect to beat OKC, but with every loss, it's just we feel closer and closer to having no chance of even making the play-in. And my problem is if we don't make the play-in and we keep these guys, who are we helping? Ticket sales? I saw the attendance, and I know the attendance will be better against the Lakers. That's not because of the Clippers, I can promise you that. Although it kind of is because people get up for that matchup. But we're going to probably lose. And it's going to be a real all-time low, losing to the Lakers at Intuit, and a bunch of their fans are going to be there because the Clipper fans are very disinterested right now. It might be a brutal scene, maybe brutal enough that Ballmer makes a change, but it's going to be rock bottom if we lose that game. 6-22. Lakers are poised for a potential playoff run. They have Luka Doncic in his prime. And here we are with no picks and an aging Kawhi and James Harden, season headed to oblivion, and Chris Paul, like our franchise GOAT, being like kicked off the team. And all I can say is that the fans deserve better. Us fans deserve so much more than this. I at least want to have fun watching this team. And right now it really feels like a chore. It truly feels like a chore. Like, thank God I'm getting paid to talk about this team because it's so brutal. It truly is so brutal. I feel for everybody, man. And I'm just going to say stay strong because I really believe one day things will change. I just don't know when that's going to be. But I'm here to help you and be here for you and talk about the games. If this is soothing, if this helps, that there's other people in it with you. Like, trust me, Clipper Nation, I am in it with you. I've been in it with you. I just want to see us have fun again. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, where I will be live on Friday afternoon to talk about the last 3 games in a little bit more depth. And, of course, the Everydayer Club. It's a real thing. No ads. And a Discord. Check that out. And, of course, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, Locked On Clippers, and get us up to 8,000 subs before 2026. We got 11 more days. Come on now. 8,000. And, of course, you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers to the day I die.